Hey, good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? How are you guys doing today? Hey, this is Gregory Wiles coming live to you from Houston, Texas with this inspirational morning talk. First time listeners, I just come on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8:45 Central Time. That's our time in Texas here. And I just tell you what I'm inspired to talk about that day. It's a beautiful day here in Texas. Nice sunny day. Nice and sunny day today. We're up in the 90s. Warm Texas weather. But yes, just remember you can always on YouTube, just check out the channel there and you'll find something that's going to bless you. Hey, but I'll be quick today. On this Friday here. I'll just be quick, let you get into your weekend. Hey, but what I want to talk about today, just the importance of having knowledge and wisdom. The importance of having knowledge and wisdom, man. It's so important. It's so important to have knowledge, right? It's that important, so we can look at this scripture here and talk something around it. Hosea 4:6, where God said, "My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge." My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Let's look at two quotes here. One here saying, to attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain things every day. To attain wisdom, remove things every day. To attain knowledge, you add things every day. To attain wisdom, you remove things every day. Okay, quickly, what I mean. You want to get knowledge, you got to add things. You got to keep learning things every day, right? You got to add things, you got to keep learning. But the wisdom is actually application of that knowledge, right? Application of that knowledge, right? So you attain things, attain which you remove things. So you know the application is, you know what to do, right? You can get the knowledge, Let's say I want to build something. You get the knowledge how to build it, but you got to put the knowledge now to use. That's what wisdom really is, right? You know the things you're not supposed to be doing because you're getting this knowledge, right? And you knowing, okay, for me to get better at, let's say, an athlete, for me to get better at my particular sport, you get the knowledge now, you gotta, eat right, you gotta get your rest and all of that, right? That's the knowledge you get now, the wisdom. You gotta put that into practice. So you remove, okay, if I was drinking 10 sodas a day, I gotta cut back on that. You're removing the things. Now that you get the knowledge, know what to do, you gotta remove the bad things that you were doing or the things that you were doing that help you to be less productive, right? So that's what that quote was saying there. Then the next one is said, a true teacher would never tell you what to do, but he will give you the knowledge with which you could decide what would be best for you. He will give you the knowledge, right? The true teacher ain't gonna force you in no particular direction, but they give you knowledge now, right? Knowledge, and then you can decide what is best for you, right? The knowledge now, right? The knowledge is key. The knowledge is key, right? Because how important knowledge is. You could be right in a house full of food and you can starve to death because you don't have the knowledge that food is in the cabinet or what is in the deep freezer or something like that, and you can starve to death. So knowledge is knowing something, right? But wisdom now is the application of the knowledge. You can put you got to put that knowledge into practice. Right? You got to put it into practice. So that's why God said, my people perish for the lack of knowledge, man. A lot of things we doing, a lot of things we going through, a lot of things we suffering or struggling with is from the lack of knowledge. The lack of knowledge is what I'm trying to tell people about all these laws and how they operate. That's what I spend all my time doing. Because if you don't know these spiritual laws, right? You don't know the spiritual laws. You don't have that knowledge. Life can be frustrating and say God ain't working for you. You're working for everybody else, but not you. Even look at the man across the street. That one is frustrate a lot of Christians to see people who they think are not living the godly life, but yet still look like they're getting by in certain areas of the life, and it frustrates you, right? So that's why you got to get the knowledge. You got to understand these things. You got to understand these things, right? You You got to understand these things. You got to read. You got to read. And don't take everything what someone say, right? Someone say something, you go and check it out. You go and check it out. You got to read. You got to get knowledge. We got to keep increasing our knowledge about things that going to make us better in our job. And then we got to understand the Bible more, right? The guide. We got to understand those laws so we could put those laws into practice and we could get all of those promises that God promised us, man. We can get those promises that God promised us. I like this example. Remember back in days, you do those experiments, right? You get a little jar, you put a seed inside of it, whatever little plant it is. You punch some holes, give it the water and the light it needs. But that little plant what comes from the seed would only grow as big as the jar is. Now, if you take it out today and put it in a little bigger jar, guess what happening? It can grow to the size of the jar. It's contained by the size of the jar. And next thing you know, you might put it into the ground, and then the trees, and then the seed, whatever the plant is going to reach its full potential. Because why? Because there's nothing limiting it no more. But when it was in the jar, that's the height it's going to get to, right? It's limited by the size of that environment that's in. So that's the same thing with us. We are limited by the environment, by what we know, right? By what we know. That's why this quote is saying you got to add things every day. If you ain't adding nothing and trying to learn nothing new every day, you're not growing, right? The knowledge, right? I remember this story about the dentist chair, This dentist had a chair that wasn't working. A very expensive chair, the latest technology at the time, make his job very easy. And the chair, he had a problem with it. And he brought in several technicians and they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to, they couldn't get the chair going. The chair was useless to him. It sat there about for a year. And then he found the next technician who said he specialized in this kind of electronics. And he come, he take a look at it. It take him about 10 minutes. Boom, he turned one screw. And the chair start back working perfectly. The dentist was so happy until the guy sent his invoice in and read $10,000. He said, $10,000? You came here for 10 minutes and you charged me $10,000? I need to see an itemized invoice. What are you charging me for? What I'm paying for? You come here 10 minutes, turn one screw, and you telling me $10,000? The guy said, okay, I'll send you an itemized invoice. The itemized invoice said $10 for turning a screw, $9,990 for knowing what screw to turn. Knowledge, that's what you're paying me for. And that's what we're paying these people for, these mechanics, these people where we go out and we said it's like we're paying them for the knowledge. Because to them is easy. He know what screw to turn, that's easy for him. But for you and the dentist, $300,000 chair was useless because he didn't know. And no one could figure out. It's just to turn one screw. Right? They couldn't figure out. That's how important knowledge is. They couldn't figure out. The problem is it's just to tighten this particular screw. Right? So that's how important knowledge is, guys. So we got to get knowledge. We got to continue to read. We got to continue to add things to our life every day. Read the Bible, understand, listen to talks, listen to people. You got to keep increasing. You're driving. You said you're busy. You can't read. People who traveling, you got some amount of traveling to do. Whether you're driving, whether you're driving on a train, whether it's on a bus, you got your headphones. You got lots of stuff available on the internet, but you got to be careful. It said knowledge is power. No, depends on what you're listening to, right? Depends on the knowledge you gaining, because you could gain knowledge of the wrong things too. But they got so much of stuff that you can increase and add something to your life every day. You could learn something new every day and keep growing, right? And keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. I remember that John Maxwell was teaching these CEOs and he was teaching them the law of the lid. Everyone wants to know, how do I grow my company? How do I get my company bigger? How do I grow revenue and all of that? And he said, it's simple, the law of the lid. Your company is going to grow as much as you know. If you stop learning and stop growing, that's where it's just like the jar, the seed in the jar. The company is going to get as big as much as you know. So for you to grow your company, you have to increase your knowledge. You got to increase your knowledge. It's called the law of the lid. The company is going to grow. Your family is going to grow. Your kids are going to know as much as you know if you training them, right? Remember the law, train up a child in the way they should go. And when they get older, they should not depart. But if you don't know nothing, what could you teach your children? Right? What could you teach them if you don't know nothing or don't know much? They're going to know as much as you know and much as you teaching them, right? Well, no, they got the internet. They could jump on there and get a lot of information. But if you're not teaching them anything, they can go on the same internet and get things that's not good for them. But if you're teaching them, they could filter out what is good and what is bad, right? But the thing is, that doesn't say they're not going to go and do something bad. But at least they got something to come back to. They know when they're doing something wrong. They know when they're doing something wrong. And that's knowledge. And they can bug at them and eat them. I know I ain't supposed to do this. I don't want mommy see me doing this. Or I don't want daddy see me doing this. Or I don't want teacher see me do. They know that it's wrong because they have the knowledge. But if they don't have knowledge and they don't know it's wrong, they can go ahead boldly doing whatever it is and destroy themselves. But if they got the knowledge knowing it's wrong, they might do it. But they're doing it with a heavy heart. I know this is wrong. I got to hide and do it. They're not comfortable doing it. But when they get older, they can realize, you know what? I'm not supposed to be doing this. Because they got the knowledge, right, guys? So let's increase our knowledge about the things that we're doing. Whether it's your job, increase your knowledge so you can grow and get promotions. In everyday life, you got to understand and increase your knowledge about God's word. You got to understand his laws. You got to practice them. Don't just know them, but put them into practice every day. So you can get all the promises that he gets, and you can keep growing and getting better and better and better. All right, guys, I'll leave that there for the weekend. But let's just get knowledge and wisdom and understanding. Let's get those three things, right, guys? And let's keep growing every day, right? I like this quote here. It said, to attain knowledge, you got to add things every day. To attain wisdom, remove things every day. Remove things every day. And they said wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of lifelong attempt to acquire it. That's by Albert Einstein. Wisdom is not a product of schooling, but a lifelong attempt to acquire it, guys. Have a great day, guys. We'll talk again on Monday. Have a great weekend. Okay, bye.